Welcome to the Daily Blade. The Word of God is described as the sword of the Spirit, the primary spiritual weapon in the Christian's armor against the forces of evil. Your hosts are Joby Martin and Kyle Thompson, and they stand ready to equip men for the fight. Let's sharpen up.
We're wrapping up this week by wrapping up Nehemiah 4. So up to this point, we've seen a lot of drama and opposition, from the overwhelming sadness while in King Artaxerxes' presence to the violent opposition in Jerusalem. This has not been a smooth process for Nehemiah by any stretch of the imagination, right? However, with God's assistance and guidance, the work has resumed and continued. So let's go back to the text. Let's go to Nehemiah 4, starting in verse 15. When our enemies heard that it was known to us that God had frustrated their plan, we all returned to the wall, each to his work. From that day on, half of my servants worked on construction, and half held spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. And the leaders stood behind the whole house of Judah, who were building on the wall. Those who carried burdens were loaded in such a way that each labored on the work with one hand and held his weapon with the other. And each of the builders had his sword strapped at his side while he built. The man who sounded the trumpet was beside me, and I said to the nobles and to the officials and to the rest of the people, "The work is great and widely spread, and we are separated on the wall, far from one another. In the place where you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us." So we labored at the work, and half of them held the spears from the break of dawn until the stars came out. I also said to the people at the time, "Let every man and his servant pass the night within Jerusalem, that they may be a guard for us by night and may labor by day." So neither I nor my brothers, nor my servant, nor the men of the guard who followed me, none of us took off our clothes. Each kept his weapon at his right hand. Now, guys, this is a very interesting passage. And it's interesting because of how inconvenient it is for pacifist Christians and Christians that have a warped sense of violence. You see, in our modern age, there is a growing movement of people that think that it is not just icky for Christians to participate in violence, but that it's actually a sin in every circumstance to participate in violence. But what these people fail to understand is that the type of violence makes a huge difference. So violently attacking someone because you don't like the color of the shirt that they're wearing is obviously sinful and immoral, but using violence to defend someone that is in the process of being physically harmed by someone or that is being threatened by someone is not only not sinful, but it is righteous and necessary. So believe me, I would love to live in a world where wolves were not prowling around looking to take advantage of and devour sheep, but that's just not the world that we live in. This last part of Nehemiah 4 is a full-throated biblical defense of self-defense violence. There is really no other way to read it. These men stood ready not only to get the work of rebuilding the wall done, but they were ready and willing to deliver self-defense violence to anyone that tried to stand between them and the work God assigned to them. And let's be clear about one thing. Bad guys don't stop themselves. You realize that, right? Bad guys that are actively in the process of doing physical harm to people don't just stop themselves and go, "Gosh, I think I'll just not hurt these people," actually. Bad guys must be stopped by good guys. That may seem rather elementary, but isn't it the truth? I mean, don't like it? You don't want to live in a world like that? Well, you need to get busy acquainting yourself with the real world because that's the one you're in, buddy. So here's my question for you. Do you stand ready to violently push back darkness if necessary? Are you trained in a way where you could stop an image bearer of God from being violated or harmed? And I guess furthermore with that, do you possess the willingness and mental readiness to bring righteous violence in order to protect a sheep from a wolf? Because here's the thing though, many men completely overestimate two things as it pertains to this subject. One, their actual fighting ability, and two, their willingness to engage in righteous violence without hesitation. Guys, listen to me. If you are not trained in a real fighting style, you will not just see red and then the bodies will start dropping. You will see red and then you'll see nothing because you'll likely be taken out of the fight against your will. Also, if you have not pre-decided that you would use violence to defend an image bearer of God, when the time comes to actually do it, the odds are better that you will falter than that you will rise to the occasion. If God tasks you with a job, you must stand ready to do the work and defend the work being done.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Before you go, if you want to help equip other men for the fight, share this podcast around and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Stay sharp.